really cool stuff with the engine. Whoa. Fuse box. There's going to be a video on something else with that. A small collaboration with somebody else on YouTube. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to continue on the tank now. I've been doubting if I want to keep this side, but this is never going to work. Take this off so complete. So I'm going to completely strip off the tank. There's a little dent over here. I want to fill that up and make it nice and smooth. A cool paint job planned for this tank. So they work pretty good. I think the tank still looks okay. There's still some bits and pieces, but I'll take it. So this tank is going to give me hell. Not in this video, but it will come soon. Yeah, I decided to take off the paint. I was trying to save these decals because it cost 200 euros to get new decals in that same type. But I'm going to go for a different route. Now, this tank had welding done to it. The welding crapped out, so I had to redo that as well. And I had to do a paint job, so it needed a lot of work. If you like my videos, please give me a like, a comment, share the videos, and most of all, subscribe. That really helps the channel. So I actually found a little pinhole here, just over there. WD-40 was coming out of that, so I'm going to try and weld this. There is no fuel in the tank. It's been rinsed with water and vinegar, so no fuel in the tank. It should be safe.
Hold that thought.
Hope we can do this. I'm not sure. Let's grind it off and then see what happens. So that went okay, I think. Grind this away, should be fine. Alright, that's a lot better. So while I'm doing this Bondo stuff on it to get the dent out, that was actually trying to make everything smooth and get most of the little bits and pieces out. I would let this dry for like an hour and then you can sand it down. Looks terrible at this point, but it will get better. But first, there was more stuff to do on the engine, and I was removing the radiator. Oh, and I finally got that shroud off. Now that shroud was going to go to the powder coaters, but this is what the radiator looks like, and as you can see, it's pretty rough, and it needed some TLC. Kind of tested this piece out, worked pretty good with the wire brush, and after some blood, sweat and tears, this is what it came out a lot better. So that only needs a paint job. But of course, the engine is not completely stripped down, so it's time to get this motor mount off, because that needs to get to the powder coaters as well. It's a very important piece, of course, and it takes up quite a bit of hammering. Speaking of hammering, this is my favorite tool, the impact drill thingy. It really helps to get any bolt loose, so that's an absolute essential part of your toolbox, I think. And this pipe was really bad, so that needed a lot of work. So the last thing that needed to come off from the radiator was this fan. So you turn in the front axle, that's a little trick. Turn it right in there, get a hammer, and use a wrench to hold it in place as well. And just stop banging it, and then there it goes. It comes out quite easily. Prepped. Took out the dent. Cleaned it up. And now I'm going to use a filler primer, high-built filler gray, because I kind of use a rough way to get the paint off. I usually use a normal primer, but this is a filler primer, so I'm hoping to get a better result.
I have to say I was pretty happy with this stuff. It gave a really thick coat and it was perfect for sanding and fine-tuning later on. So really happy with this filler.
Alright, so I look a bit of a mess, and I'll show you why. Because I did a little experiment, and well, it's snowing in here. I've been blasting the engine block with soda, and it came out pretty good. So it looks really nice.
Well, maybe the engine was looking nice, but as you can see, it is really messy, and I kind of didn't take that into account. It was really cold that day, that week actually, so I had to do it indoors. But I should have cleaned up the garage a lot more. That stuff goes everywhere. But I already started it, and I thought I might as well continue and see what happens.
Just getting in the other room. So it looks pretty good actually. The funny part is that soda that I've got is actually not from a shop that sells it for machining like this, but it's actually cocaine.
Cocaine?
No, it's not. It's for cow feed. So they add the same stuff to cow feed. I stumbled across that by accident, and the price is almost 4 to 5 times less than the stuff that you buy from the shops. So I thought I'll have a go, and it's working pretty well actually. It's not like sand, so it's not that hard, so it doesn't really damage the aluminium parts. The sand will do a better job, I think. I'm just gonna touch up the last pieces, which is gonna be very noisy, but you'll see the kind of mess I've made. Now the cool stuff about this soda, as opposed to glass beads and stuff like that, is that this just dissolves in water. So I'll just wipe as much as I can with a broom, blow everything off with air, and then whatever's left I'll just rinse out with water. Only thing, it's freezing now, so it's a bit dumb on my part.
Dumb.
Now that soda's everywhere now, but it doesn't do any harm. As you can see, it's meant for cows and chickens.
Well, looks like someone's going to a big party tonight. You should pick up a chicken strip party pack for all your friends.
It's sodium bicarbonate, as you can see. There it is. And works like a charm. The frame of the engine is now nice and smooth. My intention is to paint this, so I've already got it degreased as good as I got. And this part actually here where the fan sits was really greasy, and now it's completely clean and smooth. So yeah, pretty happy with it. Just gonna continue this last bit, and you can see what kind of mess this makes. Should have done this outside, but well, it's winter. Anyway, here we go.
So I really couldn't figure out what the difference was between the expensive stuff and this stuff. The chemical compounds was exactly the same as mentioned on the bag. The grain size was the same. Yeah, it's just soda bicarbonate, so like a salt kind of thing. But anyway, it worked like a charm, and maybe you can find it too, and it'd save you some money.
Alright, so that was the engine. Really salty. So time to clean up. That's a big old mess, but the engine is looking a lot better. Yeah, it feels nice and smooth to the touch, and I'm happy with it. I need to get this thing out of my face. So I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think it's good enough. Really curious to see what the paint does on it. So I need to get a primer, or maybe I'll just go for straight paint. Not really sure. maybe a primer, that would be best, and then some I think silver paint would be nice, or black, I don't know yet, but it's that was a fun experiment. So I'm gonna start cleaning, and we'll pick it up from there.
6.5 hours later.
Alright, so nice and tidy again. I think I should have started like that, because I had to rinse down all the bikes and my motorcycle as well, and the coverings and stuff, so I just got into it and then I just forget about it. But everything's nice and tidy again. Now, as far as the engine goes, I've rinsed it down with water. I'd say it's a 50-50 win. There's still quite a bit of grease here and there that just isn't removed, but there are other pieces that came out really nice. So it's not perfectly clean. Did it work? I'd say 50-50. If the engine is not too bad, then you can do it, I think. Maybe this one's a bit too far gone for that, and it needs a bit more power. So I may just go and see if I can get some actual sand and see what that does, and if it gets any cleaner, and I think it will. Now all the tiny parts need painting as well. I all did that in-house. These were like the brackets for the exhaust, fuse box, the front light, things like that, and I kept doing that throughout the weeks. So after using the cow stuff, so the sodium, it's like a 50-50 win. It did a really good job at plastics, getting it clean, so that's really good for it. But I got something else, which is this stuff. It's called aluminium oxide, so I'll put it down here. Now this stuff is especially for cleaning engines and aluminium and stuff, it should be. So it's a bit harder than soda, and it's less strong as iron grit. You can only use this stuff once, because apparently it breaks up as soon as it hits whatever you're blasting. So I've got a bag of this. I'm going to put that in a container or something, and I'll stick my air compressor in there. I'm going to make some area where I can do this. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but I think I'm going to make some sort of a tent or something, and have a go and see if we can get the engine looking even better, because I really want to paint it. So this is the stuff. Looks like sand, doesn't it? Maybe I'll just do it outside. Alright, I'm gonna get it in that thing. I think that should work. Just a quick look at the engine. So there are like still parts over here, and this darkness all over here. Stuff in the back. Especially this difference between that area and this over here. So a lot of stuff on top of this, and like these areas, you can see there's stuff over here as well. Oh, my camera's breaking down. So still quite a bit of areas that need attention. I've made these pads over here with some gloves behind it, some cut up gloves with rubber to seal it off. Put one over here as well, where the starter motor sits. And of course here there's a double thing, so there's one inside and one over it. Works really good. So let's get that stuff in there, and I think I'm just gonna blast it outside, so just not in the room. Let's have a So here's the engine, sprayed it down, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's still a bit dodgy here and there, but maybe I've not been precise enough, but I'm going to take it. So I'm going to let this dry, make sure it's nice and dry, no more wet spots, and then I'll start masking off bits and pieces and I'll spray it. But I have to say that stuff, that like sand stuff, like I'll put the name down here again. I got it from this company, Daytona.nl, really cool website. Really, they've got cool stuff. So that worked like a charm. So it was a lot more aggressive than the soda stuff, and yeah, it worked like a charm. So it's not like iron grit, which is even more aggressive. So the aluminum or aluminium is not damaged. It hasn't pitted or anything. So for me, that's like a 10 out of 10, I think. I did everything outside. I had to wipe it clean after that, but it's just like sand. So really doable, and it costs about 50 euros for a bag. I used the bag, not just for the engine, but yeah, pretty happy with it. So soda, the other stuff, I think the soda works for plastic and stuff, or very delicate things. Otherwise I would recommend this other stuff. So that's one job done.
So I decided not to use a primer, as you can see, basically because the way I'm keeping the engine together, it's going to build up too much paint, I think, and it looks really good. Special motive engine paint, and this engine, as soon as you put the paint on, it pops. It just looks so much better. Yeah, really happy with it. Look at that. So after the engine, I continued working on more things like these valve covers. Now they were really scratched, and it would take a lot of polishing and sanding to get them really smooth. I didn't have the time for that, so I decided, just like they were cleaned, give them a paint job. And I also cleaned out this drive shaft, which was really bad. Used a wire brush to get it cleaned, and then after some paint, it looks brand spanking new. Really nice.
So I've got a lot of things done. This one, the engine, the covers, and next I've already primed the tank. Of course, I removed all the paint, sanded it down. Now I'm going to start first layer, which is really important with the color I'm going for, and it's silver. So you'll see later on why that is. It's been advised to me by Lady Moto Gang, Moto Gang Bang. What?
Very funny.
The advice to do this, so a silver coat as a base coat, and then the real color is going to pop out when you put this underneath. So you'll see that color in a minute, but now I'm just going to put on the first 2 coats, I think, and then I'm going to leave it for a couple of days, and then I'll do the actual color, and after that, after a few coats, there's going to be a clear coat, of course. But for now, let's get this base on, which is going to be silver. So the frames back in, and look how beautiful that is. What a difference. Just look at that. That is so nice and shiny. Really cool stuff. With the engine. Wow. It's a different bike, man.
So it was time to get this beautiful paint on, the candy gold. It actually came up pretty orange, I think, which is okay, but it looks pretty good. And I have to remind you that I was doing this while it was really cold outside, like -2 or 4. So I had heaters going in the shed all the time, trying to get some sort of heat in there. And I managed to get it up to 20 degrees most of the time. So in the end, I think I did a pretty good job considering where I'm working in. Now these are the side panels, and these are actually from a different bike, as you can see, a red color. The original ones I didn't use, and I need to fill up these holes where the emblems were because I got different lamp types. So I'm just putting some putty in there, squishing it in there, making everything nice and smooth. But look at how beautiful that tank is. Look how shiny it is. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is the so many time I've done this panel, and the other one for that matter, which is over there already. I filled up these holes, of course, and I've got a primer underneath this, a couple of coats, and then a black, and then I could see so many scratches still. So I scratched off, sanded off the top layer again with wet and dry, 600 grit, 1000 grit, and I'm going to paint it again. I think it's going to be good this time. So this one looks really nice now. It was worse than the other one, but things are coming along. I've got the radiator nice and cleaned up. Back end is really nicely done. So many parts painted, so let's get this one done. And then just need to get the correct spray can. And then I'm getting there. So it's been pretty cold here in Holland. It's been -4 or 5 at night and nearly 3 degrees during the day, so really cold. But I managed to paint a few bits and pieces. Now I painted the radiator here, but these parts have all been powder coated elsewhere. You may have seen that. I have done the engine during the weeks the weather was warmer over here, and the result is okay, I think. That looks pretty good. Is it perfect? Definitely not. It is not perfect. This is not a complete rebuilt engine. This is a shed build, quick turnover, and this is a running engine though. If you think how this engine used to look like, then this is really, really good. So I'm happy with that. So the tank, Lady Moto Bang, for that color, she inspired me to do that and gave me the name of the color, and came out really good. So thank you very much for that, Ashley. The tank looks really good, and especially with the black. I did a black with it. That's a tank cap, but once you see the emblem on it, that's gonna really pop out. So in this case over here, there are many parts that I've already painted, like small pieces, like these small brackets for the exhaust. I sandblasted this. This thing looked awful, and now it looks really nice. The top of the fuse box. There's going to be a video on something else with that. A small collaboration with somebody else on YouTube. That's going to be really cool coming up. And of course all of these parts. So that's a engine mount, the swing arm, the frame of course, which looks pretty cool, the exhaust, which I think came out really nice considering it's still far from perfect. I'm still thinking what I'm going to do with these exhaust pipes, replace them or paint them. I'm not really sure. It depends on the price basically, because that's the thing going to be. I want to sell this bike. I don't think the prices of these bikes are good enough to put in a lot of money. I don't think I'm going to get it back. But yeah, if I want to replace it, I can still do that when it's all piled back together. But there's still a lot to do, and
One of those things, for instance, is this. So this ring is really rusted. I could leave it like that, but if it looks nice and it's kind of plain, it looks so much better. So these are all these small things, like these bits and pieces over here. I want to do something with it. Replace these wires on this thing. The fuel lines, of course. Oh, well, these are actually vacuum tubes, I think. What else? There is so much stuff to do, like small stuff. The shocks are over here. I dripped them out, so they need new seals, and I'm hoping they hold their. Hoping the seals work, but otherwise it's going to be more expensive. And the brakes, they need so much work. I finally got them pieced out together, but as you can see, the pistons, I got these out, but the other ones, I couldn't even get those out without a lot of force. And I've done all the tricks with air pressure and with ratchets in it and whatever you can think of, but they didn't come out. In the end, I finally got them, but each of these pistons cost about, I think, 27 euros up to 40 euros each, depends kind of where you go. That makes 200 euros because there's 4 of those pistons in there. It adds up, you know. I need brake lines, and I still have to work on the wheels. I've got a new tire, but for some reason my tool is unable to get that tire off, which is a bit of a bummer. So I haven't been able to do anything about the wheel, so I'm just gonna mount the entire bike up so it's like a rolling chassis, and maybe do the wheel a bit later on as I see the entire bike completed. I've got a seat as well. The other seat was completely crapped out, so even the underneath was like, it was unusable. The leather on top was unusable, so I got a second-hand seat at a fair price, mainly for the bottom half, so that was really cool and still intact. So I may get a new cover for it completely or repair the one that's on top of it. I'm still a bit in doubt what I'm going to do with that, but I need to start building this bike back up, otherwise I'm just going to get stuck in time, and so that's what I'm going to do now. Let's just do that. Hey, and this is where I'm going to stop this video now. I am sorry for that, but 30 minutes I think is the max, and if you've come this far, then thank you very much for that. There's plenty more to come, especially with the YouTube part, and there's still plenty of drama ahead of us. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do. You know what to do. Join me on Patreon if you want to support my channel, and see you in the next episode on the GL500, and there's lots to come. Cheers. Bye.